Yeah, good morning to you, Oliroti. Right, let's get this one right at the background. So we're kicking off again this morning. That's the 30th of November 2019. I mean, the year started just like yesterday, and we're just almost rounding up. And I just quickly take this, which is for the attack, the London Bridge attack, and it has to do with I think it's just one's victim. It's land that the police are not looking for anyone else, as far as the information reaching us is concerned. We also have I'll quickly take this, and that's taken it from BBC. London Bridge attack, everyday's heroes praised. Passerby who tackled a man wielding a knife on London Bridge have been praised as everyday heroes. Two people, when attackers stabbed a number of people in a terror-related incident. I mean, that should be two people died when the attacker stabbed a number of people in a terror-related incident. Footage on social media appears to show the knife man being held down by members of the public before firearms officers intervened and shot him dead. One man who intervened said they had been trying to dislodge the knife from the man's hand. The suspect, Osman Khan, 28, a convicted terrorist, was shot dead by police officers. Members of the public expressed their admiration for bravery of those involved. BBC Breakfast presenter Dan Walker joined hundreds on Twitter to praise two men who helped stop the attack. These fellas are amazing. The terrorist has already killed two people, he injured others, and they chased him down with a weight tusk and a fire extinguisher. He's wearing a suicide vest, which they don't know is fake. Incredible. True heroes, said Walker. George Roberts tweeted that one man filmed walking away from the attacker holding a knife, ran through traffic, and jumped the central partition to tackle the attacker with several others. He continued, "We ran away, but looks like he disarmed amazing bravery. And that is for London Bridge attack, which comes under the headline London Bridge attack, everyday heroes praised. And I mean, that's another, it's quite unfortunate that we have to face this again as a nation, as a community. But once again, we are just also lending our voices from the community to praise those people that were able to wrestle these terrorists. Otherwise, there will have been more casualties. And our prayers goes to the family, friends, and colleagues of those people that have been killed. Those 2 people confirmed dead, and we pray for quick recovery for those that are currently under medical attention. I mean, those were the people that were injured. Thanks, Oliroti, for joining us. And a comment coming out from there is so sad that our society is so unsafe because of people who are brainwashed. We'll bring it back to us that, you know, many things happened without, I mean, they just come up from nowhere. Many things has happened also in the past, you know, and when people are leaving their homes, either going to their places of work or places of social interaction, I think the least thing you want to think about is that you come under attack or accident generally. But then it does happen. This is another one, an unfortunate incident. But then we hope that people will be quite conscious of their surroundings when they move. But at the same time, I don't think that we should get into a point where people cannot live their normal life because they are scared of one thing or the other, or they are scared that somebody could attack them from anywhere. So, but unfortunately, that is what the communities are to face, for now. So we'll just quickly move to the next one. I'm not too sure that I'll be able to finish up that particular information, giving out that particular information. But if we happen to run out of time, then I will have to take it after our short ad break. Our short ad break is coming in at 10:30, which is just about 30 seconds away. So possibly I'll just leave that and then come back to it once we are through with our hard break. Thanks for those that have joined us online. We appreciate your support, and also for others that are join us online, but which is not on Facebook, where I can see your names. So either online on another online, or possibly those that have joined us on our radio frequency as well. Thank you very much, and please do stay tuned to us at all times. So here we go for a short ad break.
On 107.2 and online straight from your smartphone.
Welcome back. Right. Thank you very much, Larry Edwards, Julo. And from Larry saying it's so sad indeed. Very, very sad that people have to leave their homes in the morning and will be unfortunate not to go back home or either ended up as dead or having to end up at the hospital. Right. Right. Thanks very much for those that have dropped us comments right on there for the unfortunate incident, which is the London Bridge attack. So we'll move to the next piece of information. I'll first give us the information, then we'll come back to two other news. And that information, I'll have to do this one from my I have to take this on from my laptop, and I'm just going to read. And this has to do with the BME political shadowing scheme. The application is open. I received this message from the Coalition for Racial Equality and Rights. And the application is open right now, and it will close on Thursday, the 12th of December. And for over 10 years, CREA, that is Coalition for Racial Equality and Rights, has operated a BME political shadowing scheme, which aims to address and challenge the underrepresentation of Black and minority ethnic groups in elected office and in the wider political arena in Scotland. Through this program, participants are given bespoke training on Scottish and UK politics, equalities, campaigning and lobbying, and the media. This is followed by an opportunity to shadow a member of the Scottish Parliament or a city councillor, providing valuable hands-on experience in the world of Scottish politics. The scheme is open to all BME individuals who want to gain political experience, further their understanding of Scottish politics, advocate race equality issues, and ultimately address the underrepresentation of BME groups in elected office. The scheme is free for participants and requires a time commitment of approximately 2 days per month over a 6-month period. The deadline for applying to this scheme is Thursday, 12th of December. CREA will greatly appreciate your assistance in sending the application form to students who may be interested in applying. Now, like I mentioned, CREA is Coalition for Racial Equality and Rights. Then the political shadowing scheme, the BME political shadowing scheme, I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. I am a graduate of that scheme. I applied and attended the scheme, the training, in 2015. So, and of course, it was quite a good training for us. will encourage most of us. You know, you don't have to get into politics. I mean, it shouldn't be just to get into political position. You can get the training to know more about politics here, to know more about how the policies are made. Once you understand it very well, you will be able to understand how to lobby and to push for equalities. Some of the issues that we discuss, we are going to mention, I think, about two later on after this information. So we know it enables the participant to know how to engage with either the members of the public, the media, and of course, the politicians. When you've seen people go on to raise protests, or either by asking people to sign a particular petition, or even on street protests. So going through this training will give you, I mean, those skills. It gives you the information, it gives you the connection, and it gives you the skills that you need to get some of those things done. So for most of our people out there who are leading organizations or like officers in some of these organizations, this is quite very important for you to do. We had the training here in Glasgow, and after that training, which goes right into dealing with the public per media, what to say, what not to say, and when you are actually representing a party, different from when you are actually on your own as an activist, and of course, when you have to take things forward. And for those people that are interested in politics, I mean, it's like a good resource to get going through that training and understanding exactly how things are done, the powers that are devolved to Scotland and the ones that are retained there with the Westminster, the central government. And of course, you also have like a sort of an in-depth understanding of you have different political parties, you have their manifestos, you know where they are on the scale. You know the ones that are left, the ones that are right, the ones that are just a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. So it's quite something that I will recommend. You can, if you want that application, you can get it from us if you so want, and it's just simply by sending an email to africalive@hoursfm.co.uk. I'll repeat that again. Africa Live, the live in Africa is LIVE. Africa Live at hoursfm.co.uk. It will get delivered to me and I will send the form to you. But if you want to get it directly from CREA, that is Coalition for Racial Equality and Rights, you can actually send an email to them, a direct email to CREA. In fact, I've got Annabelle at crea.org.uk. Annabelle is ANNABELLE at crea.org.uk. So you can get it either directly from us or from them. But it's something that I'll very much encourage. Now, quickly to the I'll pick the one that has to do with the court judgment. There are two. They dealt with court judgments. The first one, and this is what the purpose is of organizations and groups or individuals that have had people held in detention, especially those that are asylum seekers, people that have been held in detentions. What is coming on from the Supreme Court, of course, you know the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. What is coming from the Supreme Court is that Home Office has acted unlawfully to have imprisoned asylum seekers. And the general discussion since this came out is that quite many of those people that were detained would definitely being damages, I mean, that they can actually seek for compensation. I know that for us, uh, as Africans, you know, when these things happen, and they will tell you that, listen, you can take your case for. People will say, no, let me just leave it to, because I don't want them to now start thinking of me somehow. Well, it doesn't work like that here. I'm not saying that we don't have things like that, maybe underground, but in this case, people that have been held in detention by the Home Office, the Supreme Court has given this judgment that the Home Office acted unlawfully and that compensations might run into millions of pounds. So if you have been detained at any time by the Home Office, please speak to a solicitor. It wouldn't add any dents on your application if you are still in that port. It wouldn't dent your application. I mean, it would be unlawful for the Home Office to say that because you got compensation for Home Office unlawful act, then that the Home Office will now use that as a factor when dealing with your asylum application. No, it doesn't work like that. In fact, if it is found that the Home Office has used that as a factor in dealing with your application, then the Home Office will be in further trouble. So for those that have been held, I mean, it's the time, if you've had to go through that injustice, the system is saying, I mean, the Supreme Court is saying that it was wrong for the Home Office to have held you, and you might be due for compensation. So let's take advantage of that. I mean, you are not, it's not like some of the things we've shared where people were doing fraudulent means. No, this one is legal money, legal compensation. So please look into that. I'll quickly read this so that we can jump into next news information. Okay, and I'm taking this one from The Guardian. Home Office unlawfully imprisoned asylum seekers, Supreme Court rules. Thousands of people, including survivors of torture and trafficking, likely to be entitled to compensation. I still suffer trauma. Home Office's unlawful detentions. The Home Office forcibly imprisoned many asylum seekers who are now entitled to damages for their loss of liberty. At the hands of the government, 5 Supreme Court judges have ruled. Thousands of asylum seekers are likely to be affected. Many survivors of torture, trafficking, and other forms of persecution. Their compensation could run into millions of pounds. The people implicated in the ruling were locked up between 1st January 2014. Note that the people implicated in the ruling were locked up between January 1st, 2014, when an EU law known as Dublin III came into force, and 15 March 2017, when UK regulations changed. So between January 2014 and 15th of March 2017. So that's why I said you need to speak with a solicitor so that you know whether you fall within that timeline and under that regulation. Now, continue with the news. Under the Dublin regulations, asylum seekers should claim asylum in the first EU country they reached, with the receiving country checking their fingerprints against an European database. If they are found to have first claimed asylum in another EU country, they can be sent back to that country to have their claim processed. Many of those people for whom the Home Office found a fingerprint match in another EU country were locked up in preparation for removal to that country. However, under the Dublin III rules, only those deemed to be at significant risk of absconding should be incarcerated before removal. Wednesday's ruling by Judges Lord Kitchen, Lady Hale, Lord Reid, Lord Wilson, and Lady Harding found that the Home Office was locking up asylum seekers without having proper policies in place to determine whether an individual posed this risk. The precise number of asylum seekers affected by the ruling is not known. Until last year, the Home Office did not publish detailed data about Dublin 3 cases. According to research on the Dublin rules from the House of Commons Library, published earlier this year, the UK made 18,953 transfer requests between 2015 and 2018. During the same period, 7,365 requests were made by other EU countries to transfer asylum seekers to the United Kingdom. The Home Office said, "We acknowledge the Supreme Court's judgment and are considering the next step." Krisha Pratipan, a part of a team at Duncan Lewis Solicitors, which brought the successful Supreme Court challenge, welcomed the ruling and called on the Home Office to conduct an urgent review to identify exactly how many people were falsely imprisoned between 2014 and 2017. They will now be entitled to compensation for suffering and loss of liberty. Now, I'll quickly pick comments coming from our Facebook page. Thanks for those that are just joining in. I've got Akindele Adewale Saburi right on there. And from Oliroti, I'll pick this comment quickly. I guess the voice of suppression in the community is becoming louder. Hopefully, Home Office will also be made to refund extortionate fees they are collecting from non-EU migrants. Quickly, non-EU migrants. Equality Act must be applicable to everyone irrespective of country of origin. Yeah, brilliant one. So there are many things, and this is what we were talking earlier about people going on for the political shadowing scheme, especially with people among the BME community, because when you understand this, there are many things that we run away from, which are actually our responsibilities. There are many things that are being done by the agencies. Home offices, government agencies. We have other agencies like the social services, on and on like that. Now, when we know some of these acts and the way policies are raised and some of these things could be challenged, then we'll be bolder. Because one thing I kept on telling people, especially our listeners and some of the people that I interact with on social platforms, that Britain and most of the European and Western countries, they got to where they are because of activism and people's agitations. When policies are made and people don't agree with it, they challenge it. Some, it will be challenged within the community and there will be changes or a sort of a review. Others will have to go to court for the highest court in the country to actually give a judgment on it. And we've seen over the years that even where a court has made a judgment, maybe another 2-3 years after, then the court itself will see that, okay, the judgment they gave 3 years ago is no longer relevant to the situation that they have. So it's by those agitations and activisms and of course positive challenging what is happening within our community, that is when we can even help most of these agencies to deliver not just what they want them to deliver, but to deliver some of their services to us in a way that it will be of positive impact and benefit to our community. So thank you very much for that. Larry Edwards Adejolo, that's good of the Supreme Court. That can be experienced in a country where the court injunction is respected. Exactly. And these are some of the things also that we raise when we are discussing about our home countries. That, you know, one of the benefits of us being here, for those that are in abroad, is that some of the things that we see here, in fact, some of us have even contributed to things that are happening here. And when in our home countries, when we have, say, for instance, we have like freedom of speech, we can talk, we can obviously disagree with the prime minister, police will start chasing you about. But in some of our own countries, those challenges are still there. So we try to share information that, well, things are not done this way, these are the way things are done, in order also to make those countries better. So it's a country that respects the law, when there are court injunctions, it has to be respected. And you can see the only thing the Home Office says is that we acknowledge the Supreme Court's judgment and are considering the next steps. The Home Office is not going on there as an agency of government to say that the court is talking rubbish and co, which most likely you will hear from some of the other countries where somebody will just come and say, no, don't mind those judges and blah, 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 and things like that. So, but then we are fast spent. And the next one, I'm going to really be very fast about it. And it's quite very important as well because it was a discussion during the weeks. And this has to do with another FGM conviction. So it was a parent parents found guilty in Highlands forced female genital mutilation trial. And I'm just going to just cut the pieces. Now, the conviction that was done here in UK right here, the child fell, and unfortunately there's a side of a cupboard, a kitchen cabinet that she fell on and had a cut. But despite the fact that female circumcision is not practiced in the tribe of the father, is not practiced in the tribe of the mother, the court here still went ahead to convict that family for FGM. The funniest thing about it is that they said, well, they believe somebody else was involved. All their investigation, you know, the investigation is quite very powerful in this country. But with all their investigation, they couldn't locate who that person was. So it was they just concluded that, well, somebody else was involved and these people were not telling the truth. And the person was jailed. The parents were jailed. Now, this is not the second one coming again from Ireland. And this one really also has to do with a child slipping and falling on a toy or one of our toys. And immediately the incident happened, the parents rushed the child to the hospital. I mean, if people know that there's a law which could put them in trouble, let's say they even did it, just for saying sake, would they not hide? Because definitely if circumcision is done, blood is expected. So if they actually did that, would they not keep that thing and just be taking care of the child underneath without anybody knowing? Since nobody was going to their house, I mean, the agency going to their house every day. But immediately the incident happened, they rushed that child to the hospital. That was also the case of the one that was convicted in March. They rushed the child to the hospital to seek for attention, medical attention. But at the end of the day, the first one was jailed. Now the one from Ireland has been jailed as well. I mean, there's still serious discussion about it, with many people saying that the court here are just interested in convicting people for FGM. So, but I'll continue to bring us updates as my time is gradually running out. I'm just about 10 seconds from the end of this program. Thanks for those that are joining us today. Next week, I'll be right back here. Stay safe.